To this sanctuary of spirit and story, of listening and learning. Today, we explore a theme that speaks to the heart of our Unitarian Universalist faith, compassion in human relations, and the deep transformative relationship between compassion and freedom. We live in a world where both compassion and freedom are often misunderstood. Compassion is sometimes seen as softness, a luxury for those with time to spare. Freedom is often framed as rugged individualism, the right to do whatever we want without interference. But in our tradition, and indeed our experience in community, calls us to a more complex and life-giving vision, compassion as a discipline, and freedom as a responsibility. In this vision, they do not oppose one another. They are partners in the dance of human dignity. Let us begin with compassion. Compassion is not just a feeling. It is not pity. It is not charity in the old top-down sense. It is a fierce and tender way of being in the world that says, I see you. Your joy and pain matter to me. I will not turn away. It is rooted in relationship, in presence, in humility. Our Universalist ancestors taught that no one is outside the circle of love, that no one is so fallen, so broken, so far gone that they cannot be redeemed, that God, or love, holds us all. This bold theological claim was revolutionary in its time and remains profoundly countercultural today. To believe that no one is beyond love is to believe that every person is worthy, not because of what they have done or not done, but because of who they are. It is to insist that even those who have harmed, even those who are difficult to understand or love, remain human beings made in the image of the divine. This belief is not sentimental, it is radical. It calls us to not to overlook harm, but to respond with love and accountability. It calls us to resist the temptation to write people off, to stop drawing lines between us and them. Because if no one is outside the circle of love, then no one is disposable. No one is beyond reach. No one is an exception. Compassion then becomes the practice of remembering that truth again and again, especially when it is hardest. It means choosing love over fear, presence over avoidance, healing over harm, and that is where its true power lies. Let us bring this down to earth. A congregation is not a perfect place. It is a deeply human one. Here we bring our ideals and also our imperfections, our aspirations, and also our habits and hurts. This means that at some point, inevitably, we will misunderstand each other. We will disappoint each other. We will have different ideas about what matters most. We will bump into each other's blind spots, needs, and edges. And in those moments, we are faced with a choice: to retreat from fear or frustration, or to respond with compassion. Compassion in congregational life looks like a culture of curiosity over assumption, care over criticism, and covenant over conflict. It is the daily embodied choice to love each other well, even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. For instance, when someone forgets a responsibility, instead of assuming carelessness, we ask with curiosity, is everything okay? When someone expresses a strong opinion, we don't automatically brace for conflict. We listen for the values underneath. What is this person longing for? What are they protecting? When someone seems distant or less engaged, we don't write them off as uninterested. We reach out gently, offering connection without pressure. Compassion shows up in how we speak and how we listen. It asks us to pause before reacting, to assume good intentions, to be willing to be wrong. It invites us to hold space for complexity, for both joy and sorrow, both clarity and confusion, both strength and vulnerability. It also means that when we ourselves fall short, and we will, we don't hide in shame or defensiveness. We trust that we are held in love, and we return with honesty and a willingness to repair. We remember that accountability is not punishment, it is a form of care. It is how we tend the fabric of our community. Compassion asks us to stay at the table when things are hard, to have the difficult conversations with open hearts, to apologize without excuses and forgive without forgetting our boundaries, to remember that we are all learning how to do this, how to be a people of love, of grace, of growth. It is easy to be kind when everyone agrees. It is holy to be kind when we do not. A compassionate congregation creates space for many kinds of people, for many styles of being and believing. It makes room for tears and laughter, for difference and disagreement. It makes room for those who are loud, those who are quiet, for those who are healing and those who are helping, for those who need a lot and those who have much to give. These acts may seem small, but they are sacred. They are what keep us connected in real community. They are how we practice being the kind of people we want to be in the world. They help us build trust, not just the trust that we will never be hurt, but the deeper trust that when we are, we will be met with honesty, humility, and care. And they remind us compassion is not weakness, it is strength. It is the muscle of spiritual maturity, and like any muscle, it grows through use. And here is something essential. Compassion does not begin with others, it begins with ourselves. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot extend grace to others when your own spirit is parched. So many of us are generous and forgiving with those we love, but harsh and critical with our own hearts. We hold ourselves to impossible standards. We ruminate over our faults. We confuse humility with self-erasure. But true compassion includes us. As Jack Kornfield writes, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. Self-compassion is not self-indulgence. It is not selfishness. It is soul maintenance. It is spiritual hygiene. It is saying, I am doing the best that I can right now. It's okay to be learning. I deserve the same kindness I offer to others. When we treat ourselves with gentleness, we become more available to others. We become more resilient, more whole. Now, let us turn to freedom. In our tradition, freedom is a sacred principle. It shows up in our commitment to the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. It shows up in our resistance to creeds and dogmas. It shows up in our respect for conscience. But what kind of freedom are we talking about? Not the freedom of I can do whatever I want. Not the freedom of no one can tell me otherwise. That kind of freedom, divorced from relationship, leads to isolation, to harm. Our tradition speaks of a different freedom, freedom for, not just freedom from. Freedom for truth, freedom for justice, freedom for building beloved community. This is where freedom and compassion meet, because compassion is what keeps freedom grounded. Compassion reminds us that our choices affect others, that our liberty is bound up with theirs. Compassion ensures that freedom does not become license. It keeps our search for truth connected to love. And likewise, freedom strengthens compassion. It means that we choose kindness freely, not out of obligation, but out of love. It means that we are not coerced into care, but that we understand ourselves as responsible stewards of each other's well-being. This is the kind of freedom that expands the soul. Congregational life is an ideal place to practice this freedom compassion dance. We covenant together freely to walk with one another. We make promises about how we will be together. Not because someone is making us, not because we fear punishment, but because we have chosen to be part of something larger than ourselves. Freedom in this context is not about doing whatever we want. It is about choosing to care, choosing to commit, choosing to come back again and again when things are hard. As theologian James Luther Adams wrote, we are the human beings who have to decide whether and how we shall be human together. That decision happens here in congregational life, in how we treat one another, in how we speak, listen, disagree, forgive, and dream together. It means resisting perfectionism in ourselves and in others. It means celebrating progress, not just outcomes. It means letting go of control and embracing the messiness of real relationship. This is not easy work, but it is sacred work. It is how we live out our principles. It is how we embody the love we proclaim. Friends, this is what the world needs right now. Communities that embody both compassion and freedom. People who are brave enough to be kind, free enough to be accountable, tender enough to be real. There is so much pain in the world, so much fear, so much fragmentation. But here in this community, we are building something different. A sanctuary where all are welcome. A circle where no one is left out. A people who show up for one another, not because we have to, but because we choose to. Let us keep choosing. Let us keep building. Let us keep returning to the sacred path of compassion. In the words of Reverend Rebecca Parker, it is a blessed freedom to be in community, to find ourselves held by the bonds of affection and care, to know that we are not alone. May we cherish that freedom. May we embody that compassion, and may we walk forward together in perfect and whole, messy and beloved, into a future where kindness can lead the way. May we cause it to be so. Blessed be. Amen. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Thank you all so much.